Going in, we'll just try not to be distracted. My name is Robin. How many of you have been in my class before? Okay. Is anyone new to meditation? Anyone new to Zen meditation? Kind of, sort of? Okay. All right. That's a good place to start. So there are different types of meditation, even different types of Zen meditation. Zen is kind of known for silent, still. Thought being our bodies are still, our minds have a better chance of being still, okay? And silence, of course, helps that too. So if you've been here before and you've taken maybe some of the other classes, and when the meditation starts, there'll usually be some talking. Follow your breath, where's your mind, etc. In Zen, we don't do that. In Zen, we really try to maintain quiet and stillness. So I'll give you some ideas and some techniques in the beginning, suggestions how you might want to do your posture, how you might want to do your breathing, and how you might want to do your meditation, okay? So when we start meditating, we'll talk a little bit first. I'll ring the bell 3 times. That signals the beginning of the meditation. And at the end, I'll ring it twice. That signals the end. And usually we all do a little hand bow after the sitting is over, and that's just giving respect to what we've just done. It's really pretty special meditating like this, so we want to give it its due respect. Okay, so now last week I asked people who were here to see if they could maybe meditate a little bit more, if they weren't meditating that much, or just see how their meditation was going and report back. So who was here last week who has something they would like to share? No, I know 2 of you who are here. Yes.
Well, I'm still having a lot of trouble with meditation. But I think you were the one that said if you can only do 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. So I've done 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't meditate. I came on Saturday at 11.
Okay.
And so I didn't meditate for the rest of the day because I'd already meditated.
Yeah, and that's fine. Right. So even if you can just,
struggle at home.
right, and you know what? You're kind of new at it. Don't expect to get it down, okay, right away. The thing is, it's a practice, so we have to keep practicing. The more you do it, the quieter your mind may get, okay? There's no promises of anything. So, yeah, okay, what about you?
I only meditate when I come here.
Okay.
And the reason being that my apartment is a scene of chaos most of the time.
Oh, is it?
The only place I have to meditate is my bedroom.
Yeah.
But when you go to meditate there, you fall asleep.
Uh-huh.
Or well, I do.
You do. Okay.
So,
All right.
so I only do it when I come here.
Okay.
I think once the chaos is gone, I will meditate.
Might be back. Okay. Have you ever come here to meditate other than on Mondays? Because there's meditation at 8 a.m. and there's also meditation over the noon hour. And it's silent meditation. There's no guiding. So
Every day?
all the weekdays. Yeah, that's really new. So I like to come here to meditate. I just feel more like this is the place I want to meditate. So I would come at 8 in the morning, and then I'll sit till 8:30, and then if I can, I'll do the second sitting. Not always able to do that. Hi, welcome. Yeah, see. So that might be a thought. Now, some people I know don't like to meditate around other people. They're just used to meditating at home, being around other people. They don't like it. It feels weird. So everybody has your own comfort zone with meditation as well as other things. Sometimes it's good to step out of your comfort zone. I would have a hard time with a lot of chaos too, and laying down is going to definitely make me want to sleep if I'm trying to meditate. So you might want to check out coming here. Do you live far from here?
No.
Yeah.
No. That's fine.
Try it.
I like meditation in the crowd.
Great.
It seems to support.
Seems to support you. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Who else was here last week and has something to share from how the meditation went? Okay. The lady in the back, do you have a meditation practice at home?
I'm trying to get back into it.
You're trying to? Okay, good.
Yeah, there's been times when I've been pretty regular about it, but more recently not so much. But I once in a while, I'm trying to take some time when I remember that. Similarly, it's really hard for me to do. My mind does not quiet very easily.
Right.
And so I think that like I start off and then the thoughts start spiraling and the thoughts start spiraling and start moving.
Right. Right.
So it can be challenging. I think at home, again, it's also kind of harder, not necessarily because of like, external distractions, but just like I can reach over and grab my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Or I can all of the many
Right.
things. Like,
You can have a cup of coffee, you can, right.
yeah.
So that's why sometimes I think it's like exercising in a group, you know, you feel sort of like peer pressure. Meditation in a group, you know, we'll start talking about posture next. So with Zen, we like to sit upright, okay, either on a cushion or a chair, however, and with a straight spine. I remember Stephanie saying last week that she could breathe better when she was sitting up straight, and that's true, that is true. So before we start to meditate, what you're gonna wanna do is choose a posture that's upright, that you can commit to, okay? So if you're sitting up straight and you feel like, yeah, I can do this for maybe 20 minutes, that's the average length of time you meditate. Sometimes 15, sometimes it'll surprise you, it could be shorter or longer, okay? But choose a posture that you can commit to, okay? I like to put a cushion behind my back so that helps me to sit up straighter, okay? Okay, so you've got your basic posture. Now, what are you gonna do with your hands? You could have your hands placed on your lap. You could have them clasped like you have like that. Some people like to do what's called the cosmic mudra, where you have one hand on top of the other and you make a little circle, and that just kind of gives you something else to do with your mind besides all the thinking, okay? So it's just something else, okay? The other thing would be your eyes. You have to think about that. So it's usually recommended, and then there's really no hard and fast rules. What's gonna work for you is what's gonna be best. If you can meditate with your eyes cast down at about a 45-degree angle, so you're still in your world, if you will, but you're not able to like look around and see what everybody's doing, and so you're kind of there. If your eyes are closed, might make for dreaminess, and then you might fall asleep. Okay. So my suggestion would be sit upright, choose your posture, figure out where you're going to put your hands. Okay, so let's talk about the technique. And I talk about this every time. I think it's good to review because I'm not going to be saying it while we're meditating, okay? So you'll get in the habit of knowing what to do. So a lot of people like to count their breath or follow their breath. So there's different ways of doing that. It could be in, out, 1, in, out, 2. Try to get to 10. If a thought interrupts you, if a thought pops up, rather than follow it along, come back to your breath. Just remember, for these however many minutes until the bell rings, I'm meditating, I'm not just daydreaming. So you just try that. And the more often you do it, the better you'll get, I promise you. Okay? Everybody's that way in the beginning. And even sometimes for years after. So the more regular your meditation practice is, the better your mind's gonna be able to calm down. Okay? So now, counting the breath is what's called a concentration practice because you're concentrating on the breath. You're concentrating on the counting. Some people like to do, and this is my particular favorite right now, and I go through different phases, I like to do what's called 3-point awareness. So I'm sitting here, what's real is my breath that I'm feeling. I may or may not be counting it, but I can feel it. The sounds that I'm hearing. So when a sound comes, your mind's going to want to grab at it and think about it and have a whole story about it, but just know that and come back, okay? And the third thing would be sensation. So that can be, if you're sitting somewhere near the fan and you can feel the air on your skin, that's a sensation. You just notice that. If you have a pain in your belly or your knee, that's a sensation. You just notice it. I personally try not to say too many things to myself because then you have a lot of thinking going on, like in, out, sensation, hearing, whatever. But you want to do whatever you can to keep yourself grounded in your meditation. Okay? Is that something cell phone in here? No? Okay. Whatever. Okay, so people were feeling a little challenged with the 3-point awareness last time or two ago, but it gets better with practice. Meditation is going to teach us, it's going to train our minds to be present, fully present. You know how it is, like when you're having a conversation with someone and they're like looking right at you and you can tell they're listening and they're making eye contact, they're fully present. Versus somebody who's like looking around, looking at their watch and not paying attention is different. So we tend to almost sleepwalk through our lives. We're just like thinking all the time, go for a walk. We really are taking our thoughts for a walk. We're not really paying attention, being where we are. So this is a chance to train the mind to be present with what is real. What's real? Your breath, sounds, and your sensations. The thoughts, they're not real. Where are they? They're just in your head. So you don't focus on that. Does that make sense? All right. Question before we start. All right. So give it a little bit of thought. How are you going to have your posture? How are you going to sit? And can you maintain that until you hear the bell ring at the end? How are you going to get your eyes set? And how are you going to monitor your meditation? Are you going to be feeling breath in, breath out, and saying that? Breath in, breath out, 1. Are you going to be counting? Are you going to be doing breathing, sound, sensation? And some people will like to say those 3 words. Whatever works. So give it a try. Maybe you've done something before. Try something different this time. Okay. Are you ready? what I saw was mostly everybody was sitting really still, and that's really good. It can be hard to do. You might want to just be wiggling around. Even something like if your nose is itching, what would happen if you didn't scratch it? You could just sit with that sensation and see what it feels like. We don't even experience an itchy nose. We have to go like this right away. Now some people will say, well, that's stupid, just scratch your nose. But different things to try. So I'd like to hear about people's experiences. What was that like? Well, first of all, any estimates of how long we meditated for?
10 minutes.
You said 20. Any other guesses?
15.
Anybody else? It was 15. Yeah. I didn't want to dive into 20 right away. Because I know we have some people who are kind of new at this, and it can feel like an eternity, right? Okay. Did anybody have trouble? Yes, Stephanie.
I started doing the counting of the breath.
Okay.
I got up to 10 or 15 and then I got bored with it and stopped.
You only have to get to 10, but okay.
Right, and then I noticed that I was feeling some burning sensations in my hands,
Okay.
but I did not move them.
Good for you.
And they went away eventually, and then I had a feeling of pain in my knee from arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't move that either, and that went away. So
Okay.
that was great.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. When I first started meditating, the technique I learned was breath counting. I found that I can be counting 1 to 10 and also thinking at the same time. So, there's no surefire, there's no magic way, there's whatever works for you. So breath counting, I gave that up after a while. Then I switched to just, it's called shikantaza, where you're just being. There's no focus. That was an easy way into daydreaming for me. So there's different techniques and different things. So what about you? What was your technique? What did you do?
Well, at first I was concentrating on the cricket sound, and it was kind of taking me out of focus.
Yeah.
But eventually, I don't know, I just tuned it out after a while, and then I started I guess meditating.
Yeah. The more you do it, the better you get at it. There's no goal of being a perfect meditator. If there's any goal at all, it's to be present in our lives. We're training our minds to be present. That's what it is. So, yeah. What about the lady in the back? How was it for you?
I feel like the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I felt pretty solid.
Okay.
I wasn't fumbling around or moving that much. And I actually appreciated some of the siren sounds and the various external sounds that were happening outside.
Right.
So I was doing the breath counting as well.
Okay.
And then having a split consciousness of the counting to 10 and then also just acknowledging and hearing those sounds. I felt like the combination kind of kept me in the moment.
Good.
But then at some point, maybe halfway through or something, that kind of in the moment consciousness broke and I couldn't really get it back after that.
Yeah.
I struggled to not have my mind keep wandering. And then, I was like, oh, my mind's wandering, I'm not comfortable, what do I do?
Right. All the things we come up with. Yeah. So if you can grab those thoughts and just be like, okay, back to the breath. Okay. And then later you can have all of those thoughts as much as you want. But while you're sitting in your meditation seat, you're there to meditate. So it can be very challenging. So don't be hard on yourself, especially if you're new at it. Does anybody feel totally comfortable meditating? Not a problem? Yeah? Okay, good for you. You're full of it, right? How about the guy in the back with the beard? How was it for you?
I tried to do the 3-point process, is that what you called it?
Yeah, the 3-point awareness.
It was too much.
Too much,
My mind
okay.
was just going crazy.
Yeah.
So then I went to counting,
Okay.
and I also noticed that I was thinking in between counting the entire time.
Yeah.
And I just kind of kept trying to come back to my breath, but didn't continue. So,
Yeah, it can be hard. Yeah. And like I said, switch around until you find a technique that works for you.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
I'm usually eyes closed when I meditate.
Okay.
It's
Does that
just
work
a
for
habit.
you?
It's just a habit, and I think
Okay.
it works. But
Okay.
I think the last time I was here was just an interesting experience because I think my eyes were closed to the point where like I felt like an out of body experience
Okay.
doing that. But this time I wanted to try with eyes relatively not wide open, but slightly open.
Slightly open, and how was that?
But like focusing, I guess looking in a certain direction, but not exactly focusing on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Which sort of takes your mind away from whatever it is that your eyes are directed at.
Exactly.
But then what I just discovered was my mind was just like all over.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really stop. But at the same time, my mind was active, my body was also in a restful state.
Right. So your body was still,
Right.
and eventually your mind's going to catch on and be still too.
Yeah.
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of go hand in hand. Yeah. It can be definitely challenging, and you know, just keep doing what you're doing. What about you? You didn't share, I don't think, did you?
I tried the 3-pointed consciousness
Mhm.
and I felt like I was playing whack-a-mole.
Too many things. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you try that, what I found with that initially was it was too many things to think about. Then what I did was I didn't like label it. I didn't say to myself, breath, sounds, sensation. I just like experienced all of it, you know, so I didn't have any words that I was saying. I was just experiencing it. So it's a thought. When you're allowing yourself to listen for sounds, it's amazing what you can hear. And I'm always amazed at the change in sounds. Did anybody else notice the sound change when the air conditioner went off? It became beautifully silent. I was loving that. That's right. So you're just like, oh wow. And you know, these things happen all the time. We just don't notice them. Okay. I had a couple of suggestions. I'm gonna do a little reading, and we're gonna meditate again. I was thinking as I was driving over here, one of the things that I learned is to try to do one thing at a time so you have better focus. So when driving, just drive. Okay. So I was doing that over here. It only takes me to 10 minutes to get here, but I didn't have the radio on. I was in my experience of driving. So I let myself feel my hands on the steering wheel. I let myself see what was happening, hear what was happening, and I was just driving. So you might want to try that. And the other thing is, has anybody ever had a meal in silence without like their cell phone or reading a book or anything? Just like when you're eating, just eat. Has anyone ever tried that? You have? How's that work for you?
Very short-lived.
Very short-lived, yeah. We're not used to it, okay? Those of you who were here last week, I did a 3-day, it's called a session at the Zen Center where I practice, and it's in silence, and we eat in silence. You know, we do a little chant of appreciation for all the labor that went into making the food, but then we eat in silence. And so you notice what you're doing. You notice the sensation of the utensil in your hand. You taste the food. You're present with your meal. Now, the other thing that happens is your mind starts kicking in and you start thinking about stuff, you know. But so if you're going to make you could think of it as eating meditation. You're here to just eat and let your eating be your meditation. Something to try. It's weird, you know. At first, this is all weird, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like all the people who I've told about my meditation, I'm like, oh yeah, sometimes I'll get a tickle in my throat and I don't want to go, you know, and disturb everybody. So I just let it be there. And what happens is, anybody ever done that? Suppress that? You get this intense itching on the inside of your throat, tears coming down my face. It's horrific, but it goes away. You know, it's like you're not going to die from it. It's just interesting to experience your body and your life. So anyway, okay. Any more comments or questions? I'm going to do a little reading, and then we're gonna dive in again. Okay. All right. So if I forget it at the end, I would just want to encourage you guys to try to meditate. You could check the website if you want to know when, or you could just think of what I'm going to tell you. Every weekday morning, there's an hour meditation. It's in a half-hour chunk, so 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. And it's silent just like this. Somebody sits in the back and rings the bell. So if you like silent meditation, if you like the experience of silent stillness, there's that. It's also at 12 o'clock. Okay, so you may want to check that out. I personally like the support of sitting around other people. So So there's that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to do that, and then see, I'm not gonna be here next week to check on you, because somebody else is gonna be here. But see if you can't try that. Try your meditation, maybe try a different technique. Try coming here and sitting in the morning or the afternoon. Try just driving, just eating. Check it out, see how it is. You might think it's ridiculous and you hate it, that's fine. Okay, all right. So this book I bring lots of times, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. This is Suzuki Roshi. He's a famous Zen master who has passed away, and I love to read some of the things that he says. So he says, Zen is not some kind of excitement, but concentration on our usual everyday routine. So we don't need to make it into a big deal, but we're just concentrating on being where we are. If you become too busy and too excited, your mind becomes rough and ragged. This is not good. If possible, try to always be calm and joyful and keep yourself from excitement. Well, this is translated from Japanese into English, so it's like, don't ever be excited, okay. But, you just have to take it from the source. He also talks about how when Buddha first started out, you guys have probably seen the Buddha statue here, the initiated Buddha. That was from before he became the Buddha, he was Siddhartha, and he was trying to figure out what was the cause of suffering. And he tried all these different things, and he tried ascetic practices. He ate like, I think, a grain of rice every day, just figuring if he could just quiet all of his insides of his body, his mind could be quiet and he could figure stuff out. He turned away from that, but that was one of the things that he did. So he came up with the idea of the middle way. So not too much, not too little, just enough. Okay. Buddha was more concerned about how he himself existed in this moment. How you exist in this moment, okay? If you've been here before and you've heard Jeff talk, he'll often say, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. It sounds, really simple. It's not that easy to do. But if you just think of that in your life, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's really all you have to do. Okay, but how are we going to get there to do that? Meditation is going to help tame our minds. Okay. All right, enough of my talking. So we're going to go ahead and sit some more, and then we can chat a little bit at the end. Okay, everybody ready? So choose your posture. Make sure you're comfortable and feeling alert, straight spine. Figure out how you're going to hold your hands. Maybe try a different way. If you tried one way, try another way. Your head should be on straight, right? And your eyes, however you choose. If eyes closed works for you, do eyes closed. If eyes halfway open works for you, do that. Do what's going to support your meditation practice. Okay? All right. All right, so that was about the same length of time. Who found the second sitting easier to have a calmer mind than the first one, the first sitting? That's generally how it goes. Although if you're feeling antsy and impatient, the second one could be harder. Who found the second one was harder? We're like already like halfway out of here. That's okay. Just notice what your mind is doing. Okay. Good. Anyone have any comments? Did you try a different technique with monitoring your thinking, your breath, hand position, anything, eye position?
I tried something different.
Okay.
So I closed my eyes this time, and every time my mind wandered, I did this technique. It's kind of like a conscious rapid eye movement.
Oh, okay.
And that just took away from my mind wandering out of place, sort of thing. So that helped.
That helped you. Okay, great. And everybody was sitting really still. That's always good because that's going to translate to still body, still mind. Okay. Again, if you're new at this, even if you've been doing this for a while, don't get discouraged. Some days are hard. Okay. The more you practice, it's like anything else. If you're trying to learn how to drive, you have to practice. If you're going to learn how to play an instrument, you have to practice. The same with meditation. So just perhaps consider, if you like the silent meditation without somebody reminding you, where's your mind, where's your breath, if you like the silence, in the mornings from 8 to 8:30, you can come for the half hour or the whole hour. You can come 8:30 to 9, and also at noon is the same thing, okay, and that's Monday through Friday. You might want to also try just focused awareness from some activity, okay? If you're eating, just eat is like just too far out for you to do, and it's like, no, I need to have my phone, I'm not talking to somebody. Try being present while you're taking a shower. Don't have the radio on, just trying to be present with noticing the sensation of the water, feeling the temperature, hearing the sound, feeling the soap. Just be present with that experience, or pick another experience, okay? These are just ways that we practice and that we train our minds, okay? And the last thing I'll say before we have some announcements is just try to focus on, we're just trying to train our minds to be calm and to be present, okay? Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Thank you all for sharing your practice here. And before you leave, Ksenia has a few announcements to share with us.
Thank you so much for leading the meditation program. That's wonderful. Hi everyone, I'm Ksenia. I'm tonight's host. Just want to share a few things. We opened the Dharma Gum Temple about 17 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead, we're not nuns or monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. We're simply practitioners sharing our interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have Recovery Sangha that meets downstairs, and they meet several times a week, and the schedule is posted out in the hallway. We also have food redistribution program every Thursday at 5 p.m. The classes and programs we offer every day are always free. And again, website is posted out above the shoe rack as well as on the website. We have a lending library outside, and if you see a book that you like, feel free to borrow it and bring it back once you're done with it. And then just before you go, please straighten up your seats and cushions, and if you can help close the windows, we greatly appreciate that. Thank you all for being here, and hope to see you again.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you.